Welcome everyone. What are we gonna do today? Today we are gonna build some full REST API. It's not a full stack application, so it's just a backend and a DB connected each other. We will use Node.js, Sequelize, which is an ORM. I'll explain this one by one, of course. And I use Postgres, which is a SQL database. And I'll use, of course, Docker, otherwise I would not live stream today. But first of all, let me introduce Yotam, which is a friend. We have been interacted kind of a lot, and he is a developer advocate at Tabnine, if I'm not wrong. How are you, Yotam?
You are correct.
Perfect. Okay, and so today we are not gonna just make an interview. Today we are gonna get my hands dirty, and I'll code with you this application from scratch, from zero. And to be honest, I have already an article on Hashnode about what I'm gonna build today, but I'm not just copy and pasting a lot of code. Maybe I'll just take this on the side to cheat just a little bit, but I'll code this from zero so you can interact with me. Please make me some question if you want. Yotam will help me, I hope, by reading some questions. You can interact with me at any time. And also, especially, I'm here also to explain what I'm doing. So I'll try to explain line by line, but if I'm going too fast or too slow, please just let me know. And let's think maybe on the top right, you have seen the Tabnine logo. And I let Yotam introduce it maybe in a better way, but basically it's a tool, it's an extension for VS Code, which lets you code in a faster way. So it really helped me. I started with the free version, and after a while I've upgraded that to the pro version. And I think we have some good news, Yotam, because I think during this live, maybe in a couple of minutes, we will put free code, free coupon. Not free, but I mean there'll be some reduction. I don't know. You'll explain this, Yotam, okay? And So Yotam, how has been your day? Can you explain a little bit about Tabnine? A couple of minutes.
So many questions. Well, I will start by saying hello to everyone, and I'm very excited to be here. And thank you for having me on your live stream, Francesco. I'm a developer advocate at Tabnine. Tabnine, for those who don't know it yet, is an AI-powered tool for almost every IDE, every code editor. It is an auto-completion tool, but for code, meaning that while you write your code, Tabnine has a lot of information that it gathered from 2 million GitHub pages.
2 million.
So it knows code.
Wow. That's not
over
one.
2 million.
That's not one. Yeah.
No. many GitHub repositories from many languages. So we just took OpenAI's GPT-2 neural network that was trained to understand English. So we said, okay, we can take this model and use the capabilities that it has to learn code, not just English. So while you code and you have Tabnine running in the background, Tabnine understands what you're doing, and it completes your code while you write it. I think we're going to see a bunch of examples while writing this REST API app now.
Let's see.
And as promised, we have a promotion. We have a promotion here just for who's watching it right now. I will share a link in the chat on the right side.
Perfect.
And we will probably add the link in the video description also.
Perfect.
So whoever wants to have a Tabnine Pro can get a 50% discount for 1 month or 1 year, up to you. And I say, let's start. Let's have some fun.
That's great. But first of all, let me ask you just one question. Otherwise, I don't start. Does Tabnine works with the Dockerfile and Docker Compose files? Because I use the other tools, they are just they work just with some specific language. So What do you say?
I guess we will have to start coding and find out.
Okay. If this doesn't work with Dockerfile, I'll just end up the
I will just leave the stream.
Yeah, I'll kick you from the live stream. But let's see. Perfect. Okay. So first of all, let's change the camera. Otherwise, I start. Okay. So can you see? Perfect. I have just one question. If you can answer, what's your if you use Node, if you use Docker, please write that in the chat so at least I know if I need to explain everything or you need to understand also how API works. We're basically trying to create a server which will expose some endpoints, and basically we will use Postman, which is a tool to test this API. Usually API, they work with HTTP requests. We have some verbs. I will not go into details of that, but you will see. This should be kind of clear at the end. And of course, you can make me any questions you want. Okay, let's get started. Are you still there, Yotam?
Yeah, I'm here. But since I don't see any questions coming in the chat about Docker and specifically about Docker, maybe we can elaborate a little bit about it for those who are watching this live stream right now and have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They know JavaScript, they know Tabnine, of course, but maybe they never heard about Docker.
Yeah, I think this example will be kind of different from a lot of examples that you can see on YouTube. I'm not saying this because I'm going to do this because we will embrace the containerization, which is a technology to deploy your applications in a way faster way since the beginning. So the idea is that we will do a basic hello world with Node.js, and then we will write the Dockerfile. I'll explain, of course, what it is since the beginning, and we will make a subsequent better version of our image or of our code. But I want to do this from the beginning. I don't want to add Docker just at the end. And this is also, to be honest, also for me, so I'm sure, or maybe more sure that this could work. So with less code, yeah. So if you have any question, Yotam, before I guess I start, of course, I could talk for hours, but let's see. It's something that we can use to deploy your application in a better way. This example at the end will be available for everyone. You can just run this example from any PC which has an internet connection. I know that this could sound a little bit strange. The only thing that you need is to have Docker installed on your machine. So that's it. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. I have a super advanced Notepad file here. And okay, but this is more for me, so I'll follow along. I had no time, to be honest, to do something very, very pretty. Sorry for that. I'm sorry. Okay.
This is Francesco's cheat sheet.
Exactly. Now, this is just to follow along, to see something that maybe only I understand, probably. Okay, so let's start from here. I'm really excited. Okay, so let's create a new folder. We can call this like, I don't know, node underscore tabnine, okay? Because in your honor, Yotam, so because I have a lot of folders here called node.
I appreciate it so much.
Perfect. So then let's open this up with the Visual Studio Code. It's in the other screen. Before starting, just let me show with extensions I use. Sorry. Yeah, and I used a Docker extension, and I have this one. So let me show you here. The good thing is that you can also install this directly from the market, right?
It's so easy. You just search for the extension you want. You press install, and there it is.
Yeah, I don't want to throw shades, but with other tools you need to go on their site. They need to download stuff. You can do everything.
And read the documentation.
Of course. But reading documentation is a bit boring. Let's say this. So it's used.
Who are the people who actually read the documentation?
It depends. Of course, maybe if you need to learn JavaScript, you can read documentation. But to use a tool, you should not. This is my personal opinion. So you can use from this one. You have this, and of course, you also have a page, right? But you can do this directly inside the Visual Code. This is something that I really like, and I see also great numbers here. Yeah, I'm not gonna go here today, but we also have YouTube channel. So yeah, great. I have a Docker extension and maybe some other extensions just for the icons or some other basic stuff, but and also something not related to JavaScript. So let's get started. Okay, so I have here a terminal. I have everything is clear. I don't know why there is this. Okay.
Maybe before we start, we have a question here from Ali.
Okay.
He's saying that he's using all the tools that are in the title, but he's using MongoDB instead of and with Node and not Postgres.
Okay.
So
I have also other tutorials when I use Node and MongoDB. I'll show you exactly where you should change the code. Okay, during the live stream. Just remind me this while we are on the DB part, but we are not really. We don't need to use Postgres, of course. We are free to choose whatever we want. Perfect. So,
okay, stay tuned, Ali.
Perfect. Yeah, of course. Okay, just this and this one. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so basically we initialize an npm project, and we doing right typing like this: npm init-y, which stands for yes. Yes, we have initialized this npm project, node project, and then we should install all the dependencies. I've read them there because I can't remember them, and there are just 3. I think if we had like 5 or more dependencies. Can you read the font? Is this too small, or is this okay?
I think it's okay, but I'm not wearing glasses. If anyone wants us to take the font a little bigger, then just tell us in the chat.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So let's install the dependencies. The dependencies are just 3, and I installed them all now. So otherwise, I'm sure that I'll forget about this. So I install Express. Express is a framework to use with Node.js to build your web server applications. Then we have the PG, which stands for Postgres. It's basically a driver to connect to a Postgres DB. And then we have this I always misspell this. I hope that I've done this well. So there are 3 dependencies. Sequelize is something that will help us really a lot. It will help to create some tables, to make some inserts. So it will do the heavy lifting. So we'll do the insert, updates, deletes of the DB. Okay. And of course, this could be done without an ORM, but I've done some examples with that. But today I wanna use this.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, let's create a folder. Yeah, let's create a folder. Otherwise, this becomes a mess after a while. So I use app, and then inside this app, I'll create index.js file. This should be not super new for someone. Maybe
it's always a good practice to create the folders and the files you need before filling them up, and just to have a schema of everything that you need before you start actually writing the code.
Yeah, and to be honest,
that keeps you on track.
Yeah, of course. And to be honest, I was about just to write the index.js file, but luckily I have checked that. Okay.
I won't let you.
Okay, so let's start, because we are here with Yotam. Okay, so I type C-O, and I already see that Tabnine is useful. I'm not saying this because Yotam is here, because it tries to help me, because I'm at the beginning of a JS file. it could not sound that much time, but if we write a lot of times const, do you agree?
Yeah, sometimes it can fill up just one word that your fingers are writing without even thinking, but sometimes it can fill up a whole line that you had to go and look for and think about.
Yeah, I just want to point out that I've all other stuff installed on this PC, so this is not like a super clean machine with just these two extensions. I have, I think, like 20 extensions, so maybe this is also why we will see other stuff, but this is an example because this is a real world example. This is not something prepared, so I want to really stress this out. So I've typed 4 characters and it's already Tabnine strikes again. This is really great already. I love this. Okay, so I wrote the first line. It's great. Okay, this is enough for now. Then let's initialize our application. I love this already. Because let's be honest, today I'm doing this because I am writing. Sometimes I copy paste, but writing this, it's really a pleasure. Okay, let me write a couple of things, otherwise I forget about that. I don't know if you know what a body parser is. It's something that, for example, to get some JSON inputs when we do we will do some post requests. So we will do some request with a body, which needs a file format or a format in general, not just a file format. And to use this, I've discovered that some weeks ago that you don't need really the body parser package because it's something like deprecated. So we will do this app.use express.json. Nice. This is a method call. Nice. Okay.
Oh, that's a nice trick. That's the first time I see someone using the app use when express with the JSON.
Yeah, but this is
JSON,
to be honest,
execution.
to be honest, I had this. One person made me notice this during the during a live stream. So I can't remember the name now, but it was helpful because of course this works. And just let me show you this again. I've tried your encoded. It shows this, and this should be something like that. Wow, this is great. I
will just explain.
Yeah?
I will just explain for 1 second what just happened here. The reason that you see those completions showing up is because many people did this before you. You're not the first person on earth to write the Express code using the URL encoded and with the extended true.
Perfect.
Tabnine already has this knowledge. It understands what you're doing and it tells you, I know what you're doing. You don't need to write it yourself.
Okay, so now let me write something that probably we will not use in this application, but it's not bad to write this. I will set some headers for the application. So this is nice. Okay, so let me write and then okay, set header. Here we go. Set header. So I'm set. Probably we don't need this because we will access from the same machine. But access control. I think this is where really Tabnine shines because I always forgot. Always forgot this. Great. Res. And so I will set 2 headers. The first is to avoid the course problem, and the other one should to allow some methods, which should be this one. So basically, let's see. Nice. Post.
Post.
Put. I use put usually. And delete.
And this is our CRUD.
Perfect. So we are not done yet. Okay, stay with us. Okay, and then let me call the next. I'm not sure that I need to call, but okay, this works. Should work. Okay. And then I want just to do like an hello world. I'm typing just because. So we can follow along. This is a try catch statement, And here we will listen to our server listen. I think a lot of people have done this before me, I'm pretty sure. Process env, I usually use another thing, so external port I use.
What's the difference between regular port and external port? I mean, I only know the port method.
No, this is just an environment variable. This is an environment. I'm setting an environment variable, but this is already a port, because this is what. Yeah, can you see? This is what the app will listen to. Let's see if it works. Okay. But now, for example, I've not set any environment variable. I'm writing this code because in the future we will set environment variable from the Docker compose file. But for now, let me do the old good trick for JavaScript, which is basically, so we will have some, I don't know if we need to put this before, no, after. Okay, and if we catch some error, hopefully not, we will console log console error. It should be the error. Okay, nice. Okay. Okay, let's try to run this application. Let's see if at least no, we need other stuff, because otherwise probably we don't have an endpoint to test. So let's write some other files, I think. Yeah. So let's create the structure of this application. So inside the app, we will create the routes or routes. What do you say?
What's the what? Well, depends if you're from America or from the UK. We said, right? I think the convention is routes, but maybe some people from the UK here will find me and shoot me. What is the fastest way to test if the minimum process is running correctly? Is there some console log?
Yeah, this is.
I'm working that we can check.
We can do this, but this should already work, but we cannot test an endpoint. Okay, so let's try. I don't know. No, let's try this test endpoint, because we need this maybe later. Okay, so routes. Then we have the controllers. Then we should have the models inside app. I'm creating this now, so otherwise after this I forget. And then we will have a util folder, which is basically where we will store our configurations for the DB. Okay, so in the routes we will create a new file, which we will call like dev.js. It could be dev.routes.js. But okay, so to use this, we will type like always const. We need also the controller that we can write later. Controller, nice. We have not the file yet, and it already helps me. That's great. Yeah.
It will try to guess the file that you're looking for.
Nice. Well, controllers almost there, and dev.js. And then also so it's, if I say routes, I need to say router equal required. So basically I'm setting up a basic route and an example. Okay, express, and then the router. This is basically because I don't want to do this in the index.js. Okay. So I will do something really basic here. We could do something like that. We could also write this here, but I'll be super fast. Controller dot version. Let's see.
In the meanwhile, I will just remind to whoever is viewing this and watching this live stream right now, you can post your questions if something isn't clear, you want us to elaborate or anything. Just post your questions in the chat, and we will answer everything.
Thank you, Yotam. Please check the chat sometimes, because I'm focused on coding.
I have 4 eyes on it all the time.
Perfect. Okay, so in the controller we can create another file. We call this dev.js. And then here, I don't want to do something super complicated. Let's export a new file and call this. It should be like version. So we have back a request or response, and then the next we probably will not use. This is great, and then we will return the rest.status to great. I love this. Okay.
This is all Tabnine, ladies and gentlemen. Tabnine,
Tab
Tabnine.
It is. And I also I love the icon that it shows. Yeah.
And this is the largest glass of coffee in the world.
Okay. Oh, Tabnine. This should be nice. Okay. Let's see if I've done this correct. I don't know. Usually I just copy paste, but here I want to show how it could be like to test this from zero. So let's see. And I don't need to export because I like this. I like this way of writing the stuff. So let's see if I get some error or not. I should not have, but I already see that here. This is nice for me. I need to import the routes. So we will use basically the dash dev, which should be like this. Okay, and we will require the file, which should be something that we haven't imported yet. It should be something like that. But I think that we need to import this. No, because we are requiring this here. Okay. So let's see if I get some error even in this case. So let's try without Docker. Let's see how it goes. Node. Okay. So if I say node index.js, nice. Let's see the error. Cannot find module. Why I am... because I need to go in the app folder. Sorry. Of course, if you create a folder, you need to get into that folder.
Yeah, quite basic.
Okay. Okay, so I don't see a log here because I've not put a log, but let's see if this works. So just let me show that. Okay, this is something old. Okay, so if I go to localhost, don't check this. Localhost 3000, it was 1 or 3000. Let's see. I already forgot that. No, the port. The port. 3001. It should be dev version. Okay, we don't have this. Let's see why. Okay, so we have. Okay, so this is okay. So let's see if at least this is listening. So if I do this, cannot get. Let's. But because maybe I not saved the file. Let's see. Okay. Okay. What's the problem here? Express type error. Request my photo, but maybe I need to install this again. No. Let's see. If I do this, npm. No, I've already done the. Okay. No. Let's see what's the problem here. It should be up listen external port. I think this is some typos here. Dev version controllers.dev require express controller.version app controller dev version. I think that I need to import something in the controller. Let's see. No. What's the problem here? Return rest status JSON. I don't know if I need to do something else. Okay, nice. This is nice. Use. Maybe it's not slash dev. Not slash dev. Require. Let's see if the problem is this one. Something stupid for sure. Let me add a console log here. Okay, so if I do this, okay, so the app should listen. So let's see, we should use the -dev, and we should get here, we should get this controller dot version, and maybe I know what's the problem. I know this is something that I always forget. This one, I always forget this. Okay.
The model export?
Yeah, it's to export this. Let's see. Oh, no, it's gonna the version. Yeah, now it works. It's something that I always forget. It's it's stronger than me. Perfect. Okay, so I've created a basic hello world in for Node.js. Now we should be here. Okay, we are here. Now, from this application, let's write some Docker stuff. So, and now I'll check Yotam, if you are lying to me, we'll say that let's check if it works. So I'll create something like which is called Dockerfile. I think we can also just starting from this one. So basically, what is a Dockerfile? A Dockerfile is a text used to bundle our application in a Docker image. Okay, so why should I do this? Do this? I do this to avoid installing Node.js to my development, to my production machine, because here on my machine I have Node, this version. But if I want this code running on another PC, it needs to have a Node version, and you could have a different version of Node. And I can already say that if
which usually happens
when
you're trying to run apps.
I can already say this because this I lost some hours on this. If you use, for example, the newer version of Node.js, you need to upgrade something. So, for example, this example doesn't work. For example, now I'll use Node version 14. But if you use sometimes different versions, they could give problems with Sequelize and Postgres. So, in this case, I do something like that. So, let's see. Okay, so I write a from, which is basically a command to start from a Docker image. I'll not go into details now, but let's say that basically it's like that. I start from a famous. Oh, this is nice. The help on the node is fine. I appreciate that. Okay, then so basically a Dockerfile is done with key and value. Okay. You can make any question. Yotam, also please check the chat sometimes. Okay, so in a Dockerfile I see I have keys and values. So for example, from and the value is node 14. Then I'll show you from where we are getting this stuff. Then other keys, we will do something very basic this time. We will expose this port. To be honest, we don't really need this, but this is just to remind. So we don't really need this. Yeah.
It's still good. It's still good to know these things.
Yeah. So then something that usually I like to do, I usually like to install inside the Docker image a version, the latest version on npm of the Node version. This is just because so I'm sure that I'll get the latest version of the npm. This could also be avoided.
Makes sense.
Okay. Oh, okay. And then some interesting stuff. Because if you have coded in JavaScript, let me explain here maybe a couple of minutes, okay? Do we have time? I hope so. So if basically we don't want to use my node modules folder because this is my dependencies on my machine. So what we'll do, we will copy only the package.json, and we could also do this. This basically takes the package.lock. This is a little trick to don't copy package.lock.json if it doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, it basically it ignores that. Otherwise, it will complain. If you try to copy something that doesn't exist, it will complain. Then we can do something. Oh, this is nice. The help on Dockerfile, it's nice. npm install. Perfect. Love that. And then we can also decide a working dir. A work dir is basically a path for the image. I'll show you this if I have time. We can call this like src. We are basically creating the file system for the Docker image based on our application. Okay. If you have any question, of course you can do this. You can ask me this. Then we are copying the whole folder inside the folder of the image. And I can see that here, for example, there is a problem because we are copying. In this case, we will copy this. We don't want these folders. Okay. If we share this with you, I will have this to Docker ignore probably, right? And then at the end, we can define at the end of the Dockerfile a command, which is basically the basic command when we run a Docker container on a Docker image. Okay, I'm not going to super details now, but if you have any question, you can see this.
We will have another live stream.
Yeah, that's Docker. If I start, it's over. Okay, so I've defined this. Basically, it's what I should do. Can you recognize this from here? That maybe if you want to run my application, you should do something more or less like this. Like you download this, then you run npm install, and you will do cmd node app index.js. Okay.
And how do we ignore the node models
This
folder?
is a super great question. You create something which is called Docker ignore. Sounds familiar. Maybe probably I misspelled. No. This one.
Yeah, you have a.
Yeah, I recognize this because there is an icon.
That's right.
This icon saves me. Okay.
And now we just fill up the names of the folders or files that we want to exclude.
Exactly.
So easy.
Exactly. If you know git ignore, you know Docker ignore. For example, one interesting thing is that, for example, I don't want Git in a production environment. I don't copy the Git history. This is the Git history. You know, this the hidden folder. I don't need this. Just to show a couple of things. Another option could be I just copy this folder or this folder and this stuff. But I like doing this stuff so I can show you this Docker ignore. Okay. Now we are here. Okay. We have a lot of stuff to do. So now we do a very interesting command, which is Docker build, which is the short for Docker image build. We are building an image. When we build an image, we can pass a tag, which is basically the name of the image. Let's call this like that. We can call this like, I don't know, like node tabnine with a version. Let's use let's use this version. Okay, so the path on this, if you want tips about that, follow me on Twitter, is Docker image build, the tag, so the name of the image, and then the path. We can specify any path, but usually we are doing this from the same folder, which we are not doing now. So maybe let me do.
And then we don't need to specify.
No, we need to specify the path, but I am in the app folder. So let me go up one level, otherwise I fail. Okay, so this should be more clear. So now I am in the node tabnine folder. Can you see this? So the build needs a Dockerfile, which could be named in a different way, but let's start simple. There is a lot of default stuff in Docker, and usually when you get started, it's better to follow the best practice. I could do -f, the name of my Dockerfile, but let's keep it simple. This little dot is the path. So basically now I'm building this image, sorry. What's happening now? Now Docker is building for us this image based on the Dockerfile. And if you can see, a lot of the steps that are defined inside the Dockerfile, they become instructions. So basically it's building this stuff. Can you see this? npm install, I find this. Yeah,
Yes.
maybe for a second you have seen that. Yeah, do you see this stage, like copy? We don't see the CMD, but that's correct, because the CMD is when we run the container. Now, to see where, because for example, I got some questions sometimes. Where is the image? I should expect maybe some image here. I can refresh, but it's not here. The image is on my file system in a folder hidden by Docker. Okay, we're not going into details, but to see where it is the image, we can do this command. Of course, we need to have installed Docker. Let me show you here. We have Docker installed. I have also a video about that if you want to check, but it's super easy. Okay, can you see that here? Okay, I've not done Docker images before, but you can trust me, I'm not cheating, because it has been created 45 seconds ago. So now we have this image. And just to be sure, let me show that now our server is offline, okay? We're not running our server, right? Now, instead of doing Node.js, node index.js, let me do a different command, one of my favorite commands, docker run, and let me expose the port, 3001, and then the name of the image, node tabnine 0.0.1. Let's see what happens if I do this. Can you see here? If I do I get the same application. So what's the advantage here? Let me show you something interesting. I'll delete my node modules folder. Okay, I can delete this if it. Okay, it's complaining because it's super big. I don't need anymore. I could even uninstall Node on my PC now. I usually have this, but yeah. Okay, so now it's complaining because I'm trying to run another container with the same, I think with the same port. So now it's complaining, but he is right. To show the containers, we do docker ps, and we can do docker ps or docker ps-a. Let me do this again. Docker ps. With docker ps or docker container ls, we can see all the running containers. You can see that here there is the container ID, the image which is based on, when it's been created, the status, and the port exposed. And this is a fancy name that's given by randomly. I could give my name to a container. Now, to show all the containers, even the stop ones, we can do docker rm, and we can type the first characters of the ID. For example, C4 and 29. Can you see this? The C4 here and the 29 here. Okay. Yeah. It should complain about one because for security reasons, I don't delete. It doesn't delete a running container. Okay. So it says that you should stop the container and then remove that. But since I am a little bit rude, let's do just docker rm-f, which stands for force 29, and it's done. Okay. So this was an example. So do you have any? If you have any question, I can stop a couple of seconds, and then we will go on with the Docker Compose.
The only question that we have in the chat right now by Coding Vampire Pravin is asking if we're making a Tabnine clone. No, we're not.
Today.
We're doing a REST API application.
I don't want to compete with Tabnine, at least today. But yeah.
If you can beat them, join them.
Let's see.
But we are using, just answering Coding Vampire, we are using Tabnine to help us code this whole application faster. And also, if you'll scroll up a little bit in the chat, you will see that you have a promotion code with a link for 50% discount for Tabnine Pro. I hope this answers. Okay,
let's move a little bit fast. So now I want to do something.
Sure.
A Docker Compose. I want to create a Docker Compose.yml file. Why? Usually you use the tool Docker Compose, which is a set of CLI commands and a file. So there is a difference between the file and the CLI. So this is the CLI. Now there is this version 2. I could also do this without the dash. But this is the command line, and this is the file, which could also be used, for example, by Kubernetes. So this is the file where we define this. Kubernetes is a tool to orchestrate containers. Okay, so
Okay.
I like to create this even if I have just one service, because after that we will create another service run into this Docker Compose, and I'll show you the power of Docker Compose. This is a super crash course. Usually you need like a couple of hours because before seeing Docker Compose. In this case, I'll just go straight into that. And then we can define some services. I'll show you the good stuff of this. So we can define services as basically like these containers and images. So like the node application is a service in this case. So let's call like this node, let's call this like node backend. Oh, this is nice. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here you can define, I'll explain this one by one. So we can define a container name, so we can define a custom name, and we will call this like node Tabnine. Can Tabnine recognize himself? It can't. Okay.
Usually it can.
Perfect. Okay. Then we can define an image. An image here is more or less like the tag that we have used before. So I've called this node tabnine 0.0.1. So in this case, I've called this node tabnine 0.0.2. Okay. Then this this command is the build, which I'll show you if I don't choke. Context. Okay, so this is basically the dots that we have put before when we did the build command. I'll show you, pretty soon. I swear. Ports, it happened me. And it should be 3001. Thank you. Okay. And for now it should be enough, but I want to do this. Maybe I don't need to do this, but let me show this. I wanna define some environment variables, because that 3001 hard coded inside this. I really don't like this. I don't like this one. This is just but I really want to use this.
So which one?
I want to use this.
So which one would you pick instead?
It's the same value, but we could put another value. But probably I'll change this maybe later. Okay. So it was the external port. Thank you. Equal 3001. And here we will put some, if I have time, we will put the environment variables of the DB also. And for now it should be enough. So what we have done, something which could sound useless because we are just using a Docker Compose for just one service, but look at this. If now I type, if I have not done any typos, I'll show you the images in my local file. I do this, Docker Compose. This could be with a dash or without. With this I'm using the new version. Docker Compose build command. Just this. Let's see if it works.
Without the dash is the newer version?
Yeah, this is written in Go.
Okay.
Let's see. Can you see? I've built another image just putting this. This sounds a little bit like magic, doesn't it? But here basically it's saying, okay, please build what's written in the Docker Compose file. So I don't need, for example, to remember the tag. The tag is what I've defined here in the image. Can you see the advantage of using this approach? I don't need to remember what is this one.
And thank you for explaining this, because this is a real what the hell moment.
Exactly. This is what I'm explaining this just for you, Yotam, because I've watched a lot of Docker tutorials and I know where they fail. Okay, so so basically here is very useful. For example, if you want to change version, I can do this, build, and I build another version. So let's see if I haven't done any mistake. So how can I run now this service? I could do like before, Docker run -p the ports. But there is, here I'm just using just one variable, -p, but think about having a really more complicated example. I can do just Docker Compose up. And it's running this image based on the Docker compose file. Let's see if it works. It works. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Okay. So this is nice. With Control-C, I'm stepping. Can you see that here is a little bit different? It's showing some logs with a colored name, because if I have different... here I could define different services, and they will have logs with different colors. So
that's comfortable.
We are gonna do this. We are gonna do this now. So I'm gonna skip the. So we have done this. I'm gonna skip this repository because we will do this at the end. I've done this. Now I want to go straight forward into the DB. If that is okay for you. But at the end I want to show also the Docker Hub, but it's not really related to the code. So since Yotam is here, I want to do some more code related stuff. Is that okay for you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but I'll show you if I have 4 or 5 more minutes. Okay, so now we should have a DB, right? So what should I do if usually? Usually I go here, I go on Postgres, not Postgres tutorial, I will go on Postgres. These are examples, so I should come here, I should click, I will never click this button, I should download this stuff, I should have Postgres on my machine, probably you have done this before in your life, I've also done this maybe last time 5 years ago. The problem...
we had a question. We had a question before about the differences between Postgres and MongoDB. So if
the difference...
Ali is still here, this part is for you now.
Yeah, okay. I'm here, this is a very great question, because here I'm not saying that with Docker you can use a Postgres DB. You can use any DB. You can use, I've also some articles on Hashnode if you want to check that, using Mongo. I can use some Node and Mongo. Here I'm doing something related just to Postgres, okay? So how can I use Postgres without installing it? It maybe could sounds really strange.
You can. How do you do that?
That's a great question. There is something called Docker Hub, and if you know GitHub, you know Docker Hub, because as GitHub is a repository for project, Docker Hub is a repository for images. And here, these are the official images that are on this hub. And there are 7.5 million available images. So here you see the power of Docker. Docker would be way less powerful if we would need to build every image from scratch. Here we have images done by the Postgres team, which of course are better than me at creating a Dockerfile, okay? For the doc, I could download the Postgres and do my Dockerfile. I have some. This is a bit.
No one is better than you, Francesco.
No. But Postgres team is better than me. At least on making the Dockerfile on Postgres, they are better than me. I'm sure.
Okay, we'll give them that.
Okay, let me show you. Okay, do you recognize this? This is the Dockerfile which the Postgres team has wrote to create an image of their Postgres version 12 application. It's kind of long, I don't know what's going on here. I'll trust them, but the idea is that this replaces to me to install Postgres on my machine, which is really a dream. Not just because it's easier for me, I could also do this without Docker, but it's because I can use different versions of Postgres at the same time on the same machine. And this usually it's very hard to do this on the same machine. And also if I delete the images, like if I would have uninstalled Postgres. Sounds good?
That's useful. That's very useful.
It is. I'm super excited. I know. Okay. So before adding this new service, let me write this. Oh wow. Depends on. Depends on. Yeah, nice. And here I can say to this service, please wait for this service before NodeDB. Let's call it like that. So we will wait. Docker will wait for this service to start before running this container. There is an issue, but we should not have this. Okay, so let's write.
So that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm asking, so the depends on is sort of like an onload. Like an onload function.
Yeah.
Wait until we have everything.
Yeah, to be 100% honest, this is just for the container to start. So Docker is so fast that if you just do this, this server bootstraps even before the container inside the node, the Postgres container, it's set up. So, but this is not a problem of Docker. So we will do this one by one at the beginning. So, but okay. So container name, we could call this node DB. The container name is the default name that I wanna give, the custom name, to be honest. Then here I can do this, Postgres, and here we will see this. Then let me write down a lot of other things, like usually, if you know Postgres, it runs on a specific port, which is 5432. Thank you, Tabnine. Okay. And this is already...
Was that being auto-completed by Tabnine right now?
Yeah,
it actually knew the port
not this
that is
one, but this
Postgres?
one. Yeah, it has replaced it with the same one, which is never a bad thing. So environment stands for environment variables, and here, what we need to do, because here we are defining the environment variables of the official Postgres image. Let me go on here, because where was that one? Okay. So they have given to us some environment variables that I can use. I'm not defining new environment variables. I'm using the environment variables defined by the Postgres developers who made this image. Okay, so this need to be exactly the same, otherwise it doesn't work. So the name is Postgres user. I need to copy this. I usually, since I have a big ego, I use my name. Francesco. Then the Postgres oh, this is nice. Postgres password. Because it takes some from the repositories. So the best.
I hope everyone is seeing how Francesco is barely typing anything. He's mostly just tabbing down to Tabnine.
And this is not code. This is a YAML file. So it should be hard to just understand what I'm writing, because a YAML is, maybe it's closer to humans. There are different opinions about that, but honestly, I like that. And then a Postgres DB. This is kind of important because this is the name of the DB when I run this image. So let's call this like, I don't know, Tab9 DB. Okay, let's call it like that. Okay, so
that's very creative, Francesco.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Now let me do something a little bit fast because otherwise we don't have time. But the problem is that if you run and stop containers, you don't have persistence by default when you use containers. So you need to do this in some other way. So this is a little bit more effort when you use containers instead of just downloading stuff on somewhere. But to be honest, this is a super useful thing because also if you deploy this on AWS, on other stuff. So basically this is the persistence for Docker. Since we are using the DB, we are using volume. I post about this every day. I've done also some videos about that. So self-promotion. And we will call this like MPS. Let's call this like that, which stands for Node Postgres Sequelize. Okay. Data. Probably this is fetching my repository on GitHub. Probably, I don't know how we can understand this. And this is the...
You're not sure how it works?
No, but I'm happy. I'm happy anyway. PostgreSQL and data. Okay, so this is the path of the volume, which is basically for persistent. I'll be fast here. And here at the end of the Docker Compose file, I'll define also the volumes that I want, and I need just this little guy. Let's see. I'm doing this just for you. Perfect. Okay. So, if I'm not wrong, now we should have two services running on the same machine when we'll do Docker Compose up. So and here, if we want me to explain, I could. But first of all, let me check if I have something running. I should not have. Docker ps. Let me remove this one. I can just type the first charter, okay? So docker ps-a docker images. Okay, so we have just the two images that we have built, one with Dockerfile, just Docker build, and one with the Docker compose file, and that's it. We don't have anything else. Now, let's try to do Docker. We can do this with a dash or with a space. I need to get used to spaces, so I'll try to do the space. Docker compose up. Dash D stands for detached. So basically, let's do this without that. So if I do Docker compose up, now it should look into this file, and it should run these two services. One is Node backend again, and one is our Postgres image. So it will be a container running basically on this image. Can you see here? I'm using the official Postgres image. Let's see what happens if I do Docker compose up. Okay?
Docker compose up.
Docker compose up, it means what is in this file. I want this up and running. Okay? Now, okay. So now what's going on here? Because I see. Okay, so maybe
it looks like it's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, it's because
okay,
it's because we are live streaming. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So we're taking so your machine is taking most of the broadband to the stream.
Okay, now let's see if the server is still up and running. Okay, the server, our Hello World server is up and running now. Do you see that here I'm stopped? Now, if I do Control C, it should stop the containers. I don't want to do that, so I'll create. Maybe I can do this from here. Okay. So let's. Can you see here? Do you want it a little bit bigger? Okay. Maybe it's better here because we are at the top with our camera. Okay.
This size is
okay. Okay. Now, so let's try this. Okay, it's a bit big, but let's see what's going on here, because here now I see that there are two containers. It's a bit big, okay. Two containers. Can you see this here? Let's check just a couple of things. We have the name, not a random name, but the name we have defined in the Docker compose. So this is just to define the name. Where is this? Here. But now an exciting thing, because we have this Postgres, and if we do Docker images, do you see that here now we have this image? So basically, Docker has downloaded this image on the local machine since it was defined inside this file. Okay. Okay. Now, if we want to get inside this DB before doing the REST API, let's do a fancy command that I honestly like, if I remember the syntax, of course. Docker exec, which is basically a command to execute other commands for containers. Usually is used for open a terminal, but in this case we are not doing this. Docker exec -it, which stands for open an interactive shell and a terminal, basically a TTY. We can put the ID of Postgres 56, and then the command psql, which if you have used Postgres in your life, I don't know if you have ever used that Yotam.
I haven't.
Okay, it's basically to get. Oh, what is it? To run some SQL commands, and the DB is Tabnine DB. Let's check. Tabnine _DB. This looks very good. Now, can you see that here I am inside the container running the Postgres image? If I'm not that good with psql commands, but if I do something like that, we don't have any relations here, and we could like
meaning
this. Okay,
what does it mean that they did find any relations?
Okay, yeah, we should talk about hours about that, but basically this database is a SQL DB, so it uses tables and it's an entity relationship DB. So it basically it uses some tables and relations between them to tell this in 5 seconds. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
We don't have any tables here. We don't have nothing. Okay. So remember this. So, okay. Now, okay. Now the problem is that here I'm not cheating, but this is not done at all because I'm just my hello world server and the DB, but they don't talk to each other. They are just two separate things on the same machine. But what I want to do, I would like to connect this service to my DB, right? This is what we want to do. This is what we promised, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let me stop this. Okay. And now we will create the REST API. So where can we start? Okay, let's start from the configuration of the DB. So we need some stuff because we need to configure the DB. We need a model defined to understand how we want this table, these objects.
Yeah.
And then we need 5 controllers with 5 routes to insert, delete, update, and delete stuff. So we need to go, I'm not saying fast, but let's see how fast I can go. Okay, so first of all, we will create a file called database.js. And here, we will use Sequelize. Sequelize is an ORM, and here also we should talk for a bit, but let me explain really fast. If you have used MongoDB, I don't know if you asked about that, it's basically as Mongoose for Postgres, okay? So it's something that you can use to create tables, create insert, something like that. Okay, here is the documentation, okay? If you have any question...
That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. There are people against ORMs, of course, but here we want to be as fast as possible. So we want to require... Do you remember that we have installed this at the beginning? We already forgot this. Here, let me show this one. We have
and now you need to get the environment variables.
Exactly. Perfect. I'm basically now I'm writing no more const. Sequelize equal. Now we'll create an object. This could maybe look a little bit complicated, but you just need to get used. Usually I copy paste this. For now we will do this. So now we need to pass some environment variables to this object. Have I passed this correct? It looks like that. Okay. The problem is that here I'm writing this environment variables, but these are not the Postgres one. These are my application one that I have not written yet. So let's do PG database, a different one. So you use database, then let me do this, PG user. These are not the official Postgres environment variables. These are mine defined by me. Process.env pg password. You need to put this in order because I've experienced some problems with that. Okay.
In order, you mean
the DB, the user, and the password. This is not a JSON object. This is a constructor. So if you can't understand it, you want to use as users this and something as DB.
I understand.
Okay, this is a crucial part because usually when you're connected to a DB, you put something like the IP, right? Like localhost or something like that. The container doesn't work that way. You need to pass the name of the container. So by passing the name of the container, it recognizes that you want to connect with the Postgres container. And then we can specify a dialect, because one powerful thing about Sequelize is that you don't need to use this just for, thank you, Tabnine, just for, just let me see if I
just for Postgres?
Yeah, just for Postgres. But for example, for MySQL. And before I forgot this, thank you, let me write this, because this is my problem every time. So here I see...
Forgetting to export your files.
Every time. Okay. Okay, so this should work. It's complaining a bit, but I think we should be okay. Okay, so now what should we do? Let's think about that. We should, okay, let's write, before I forget about this, the environment variables defined here inside the Docker Compose. So here I've just this external port. Now I need to, this is great. And this is, I don't need to use the exact order, because here I'm just defining the environment variable. So here I'll use, let's see, okay, almost faster than copy paste, and then pg, no, oh wait, no, this is pg database. No, this is now here I want to define my personal environment variable. Pg database, then pg user, which is.
By the way,
Yeah.
By the way, Francesco Ali is has noted that you've been using capital N maybe in the.
Where?
We had in the database database JS file. You have that's why it's a complaining. You have that's right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Ali.
Yeah, it wasn't strange, but thank you. Wow, thank you. You saved my life. Let's go fast.
Definitely.
Then pg password. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you've seen Spaceball, you know what I mean. And then the pg database we have, and then this is very, very important, pg host, which is the name of the service that we want to connect it to. Can you guess which one is it, Yotam?
You should tell me.
Yeah. Do you want to try? Okay, let's see in the chat. Let's see in the chat while I drink. Here we need to define the service that we want to connect it to.
Is it one of the variables that you already named?
It's here we need to define the service. The service.
Oh, now we define it.
No, it's already defined in this file.
Okay,
check
so you'll
check
have
the
to
chat.
tell me.
I give you
'Cause
10
I got
seconds.
confused. Okay.
The service that we want to connect to. We have two services. Can you see? Two services.
Yeah.
So, has anyone written?
So it will be.
Which one?
Oh. Well, Ali,
Ali?
Which, who is
Says?
Ali, who is our very active viewer, says the name of the process, isn't it?
Yeah, but which one is? It's not the name of the process. It's the name of the service that we have defined here. I don't make hard questions. It's there are two services. This is Node backend. This is Node DB. Which should I put this?
Okay.
This one? Or
So
this
it has to be. Oh, so okay. So just Node backend. That's it.
No, not DB, because this is not backend, which is connected to this other service. You don't want to connect it to my own
I
service.
admit I got a little confused. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so basically here saying, okay, please connect to this service, because this is the service of the node connected with this service. Okay.
Ah, okay.
Makes sense.
That makes sense.
Makes sense now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and to be honest, yeah, this is the name of this one. Usually I name them the same, so it should work. Perfect. Now, I need the hard part. Let's see. Okay. Now this part. Now, for the dev routes, we had just one. Now we need more, and I'll try to be as fast as I can. So here we can do. We need to define a controller like before, which is require
controllers and users.
Yeah, I have this bad habit to write this before creating the file. Please forgive me, because otherwise probably you should have recognized that. And then the router. The router, which is require. If you have any question, just stop me.
Should be Express.
I'm here. This is just express.router. Someone wrote this before me for sure. Okay,
Definitely.
So here now we are defining the 5 endpoints. So this is a CRUD endpoints. So what we do here we do router dot. Usually like to write them like that, but it should be done in different ways. So if we go on the, let me write this, then we can controller dot get whole. I'm writing this before. Maybe it would have been better to write this after, but okay, just let me write this like this, and then I'll gain dot get. I'll explain this.
If we want to
dash
ID, if
ID.
we want to call a specific
I'm
one.
writing this by hand, so you can follow me. But usually, to be honest, I copy paste this. Then post. This is something given by Express, that I can define the name of the HTTP request by using this router. Maybe it's router, not Express. So I don't need to define the verb of the HTTP request. It's inside this method. So
it comes bundled.
Yeah, it's easier. Dot create one. Probably I'll misspell some of them. Let's see. Then if we do put.
I think you're good.
Thank you.
I think you're okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is incredible. The update one, it read my mind. Okay, I'm.
Just you just wrote a whole line of code.
No, this is incredible. This is the peak of the live stream. Delete ID controller. Delete.
Check it all out.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Before I forgot. Router. Very
Ali is
good.
asking if the controller method is some kind of a middleware. That's a good question.
Yeah, of course it is. I could define here, for example, I've never created some authentication stuff, but here I could define a middleware function, and this is just a function. I could also write this here, but the code would really look very bad. A very great question, Ali.
Yeah.
Okay, now the hardest part, which is the controllers. Are you still there? Sources.js. Okay, no, I still need to do something. I forgot this. Before doing the controller, let me write the model, because since we are using Sequelize is very good, but we need to define how do we want this object inside the DB. Okay, we are not using TypeScript today, but we are defining Sequelize objects anyway. So we require Sequelize. Thank you, Tabnine. And then we can call this db equal require dash let's see util database. This is database. Okay. Now this is getting, it will get really interesting, because now we define the model for Sequelize. I know that this could sound a little bit annoying, this task, but here, for example, if we define users, this is the name of the table. So Sequelize will create the table for us. And this is useful. We don't need to create a DB with a table with create, insert, create table, something like that. We will not do this in this tutorial. Okay, so here we can define some stuff. I have something prepared. We can also change some types if you want. Otherwise, I'll go with what I already have. So we can define a type for Sequelize, which is the Sequelize integer. Okay. Auto increment, you can guess what it is. Basically, you will get some ID 1, 2, 3 without needing to define that. Like if you go to a marathon, you don't define your number, of course, maybe. Then allow none false, you need an ID. Probably it will fail anyway, because this is the primary key. Okay, we are not talking about primary keys, but basically it's the one thing that you can use to looking inside the table. And then this is the primary key of this table. Then this was users, right? So a username. This okay.
What is the primary key Boolean
Boolean
stands for?
Boolean.
Yeah, the primary key.
No, I'm
it's
saying that the ID will be the primary key of this model.
Oh, makes sense. Okay.
It has a little bit strange syntax, but once you get that, it's kind of easy. I don't know how Tabnine can recognize this because I have this as a string already, and okay, great. And then hello none false. Yeah, usually I say this also on other live streams, Yotam. It's you that you're not come every time with that excuse that you have a family and a job. Yeah.
Yeah, I will have to show up to all the live streams from now on.
Yeah, you will find it. I say this kind of often. Okay, so
just to brag about Tabnine.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so let me type a little bit if you want. Hello
Okay.
9, hello null false. We can even stop here. No, let's type a password. Basically, I'm like defining some.
Basically, you can add whatever elements or characteristics to this table as you wish. I mean, now we're defining ID, username, email, and password, but you can also add whatever else we want to add or need to add.
String, insert, integer, strings, boolean. Now, to be honest, here I'm doing the same exact model because if I have some problems, I know that these are the types. Okay, but of course, this is to make Sequelize talk with Postgres. Or to be more generic, like to use a dialect, this dialect Postgres. If we change this dialect to MySQL, I've tried this, and we change the image, and we say use MySQL, for example, instead of Postgres, I think it should also work. No, with MongoDB it doesn't work. We can use the same model. Where is the file?
I think you maybe created it inside the controllers.
Wow, nobody told me this. Perfect.
I just realized that now also.
Because the file is the same, but okay, so nobody. Okay, let's check this. Okay, bye. Okay, so the model is defined here. Okay, and before I forget this could really hunt me. The module exports equal user. Okay, so here we have defined this. Now let's go in the controller. Please remind me that I need to do something in the index.js file. Okay, please.
I will try to remember.
Const user. Okay, so here now we import the model of the user, and here now you see just one thing. Let's see. I don't need to import the DB here. I don't need this. No, just the users. Okay, users. Perfect. Oh, okay. Okay, so now we need to create some stuff. I usually start.
Now we start to define the controllers of the CRUD.
Exactly. Okay, so I usually start with this one. We can even, if I feel confident, I can write them all. Otherwise, I could create one and then we can build the image to see if at least this works. So basically, we are defining the controller for this. Okay, inside we can use this try catch statement. So this is the function that, if you are following, is basically this one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now, no, what I'm writing. So const. Usually I do something like that because in this case we are getting multiple users. If we have model 1, of course, or 0, I don't know. Await users dot find whole, and this is a method. Oh wow, the man knows this. This is a method used by Sequelize. So basically, Sequelize has given us all the users that we have. So this is kind of powerful. I don't need to write any SQL queries here. And then let's try it without
Just note that you have a double slash in row 1.
A double
where you require
slash.
in the require.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ali.
You are the best. Okay.
He is the MVP of this live stream.
We need you. Stay with us. Okay, so
stay with us.
Yeah, please. I'll try to be fast. Return dot no, what I'm writing? Why I'm writing here? Return res dot status. So this is basically express commands and JSON. Oh,
it will be JSON all.
Yeah. It's, and in this case we will return the error. Hopefully not. Res dot status. Let's say 500.json error. So, do we wanna try with this?
Yeah, let's test it.
I already know that we will get some errors because Express is smart. So if we don't comment this, it will expect this kind of functions. So I'm gonna comment them out because otherwise it says where is the get one, create one. Okay, I need to create them. Okay, and the thing that I remember that I need to do is that inside the index.js file I need to do just a couple of stuff. The first.
Oh, you wanted me to remind you that you need to do something in the index.js file, by the way. Now I'm reminding you.
Please. Yes. Now that I remember this. I remember this because I asked you to remember. Does this happens to you?
And I'm here to remind you after you remember yourself.
Okay. util ib. Okay. So I need to import here because here now we'll see if I don't do any typos. A little bit of magic. I will import the user require. Oh, this is wrong. Models. Was this correct? Users. Okay. And now I'll do something which could sound a little bit ugly, but it's one way to do this. But first of all, let's me add the routes for the users. Slash users require. Oh, nice. Okay, now I'm gonna do something a little. We could do this in many different ways. I'll do the ugliest and shortest version. So
just the way we like it.
No, this could be done in a way better way. But okay, so basically I'm using here all the power of JavaScript. I'm basically creating a function, an asynchronous function, and then I call this now. So I don't need to. Then you call it. Yeah, just create. This is basically everything async with the if. So yeah, something like that. But I need to do something before. Here is the magic. Check this magic. Sequelize .sync. And I'll pass a parameter which is force, which will be set to false. Probably the default is false. Let me explain what happened here. Then we will try to build a new Docker image, and let's see. Okay, so if this command would ever work, we will have Sequelize creating the table users inside the DB without even touching any endpoint, because this is done before we bootstrap the application. Okay. So this is to avoid like creating tables somewhere, or I see a lot of tutorials do things manually. Okay, you could do this manually, of course. You create the table and then do the instance. But here we are creating this table. Okay.
You said it will be an ugly move. I don't find it ugly. I think it's beautiful.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So let's see if we have everything working. If you have any question, this is a good spot. For me, everything's fine. Let's call this 003. So we have the 002, which is a different. It was a different image. So let's see. Let's see if this fails or not. Docker compose build. Nice. Okay, Docker images. It builds the image. By the way, this is not the space of all the images. It's just one of them. Okay. What I've done here? Okay. So I have this new image. Now let's try. Which was the command to run all the services? Docker compose. It's up. Yeah, Yotam, can you mute your microphone?
Oh yeah.
There is? Okay. Yeah, I heard a lot of noise. So let's try the docker compose up command. Let's see what happened. This looks very great. And now let's see. Let's try to I want first of all to check if all the services are up and running, otherwise there is no sense. Let's clear docker ps-a. Wow, they are both up and running. This is great. Now let's see if they are connected or not. We will use first of all again this endpoint, and now let's check the users. Wow, this worked. So are you still there, Yotam? So we have hit a decent point.
I'm here.
Okay, you have lost basically the best part of the of the tutorial. But here
I didn't lose anything.
Joking.
Here. I'm all ears and I'm seeing everything.
So can you see these little two brackets? This means that this is working. This is fetching the users inside the DB, and it finds that there are no users, which is correct. Okay. Just let me do something super fast, then we will write the other commands, but I think this is already working. So now, basically this is already done. We should create, if we have time, you can do this, but otherwise, let's see. But just let me do this with cool sounds. Okay. So we have a different name for the container, which of the Postgres container, which is 5.2 now. And now, if I do this one, can you see? Here I see some relations and I've not created any table. If I do select all from users, can you see this? This is a table created by Sequelize before even hitting the endpoint. It was not me hitting this get endpoint. I'm just getting here the things. So this is the advantage on using an ORM. Is it good? Is it not? I don't know. Okay. So basically, now we have two services running on the same network. I can show this if you want, if you're interested into that. And now we should just add the other controllers. But I see this already as a success. So I'm already happy. Just let me show this. If I exit like here, so there is something which is called Docker networks, which is basically used to connect the same containers on the same sets of subnets IP, something like that. So if I do Docker network ls, there are 4 networks. To be honest, these 3 networks, I don't know if you can see the cursor, I think yes. These three are the default ones. This super strange one, I've never defined this. How this happened? A little bit of magic inside the Docker Compose. If I do a Docker Compose app and if I have a lot of services, even if I've not defined any network, it will create a network for us, and it will give the name of the folder with this default, which is this node tabnine.
Node tabnine.
And just to show this is cool, because if I do this without Docker Compose, I need to create my own network. They are not connected by default. They are connected if I do them on the bridge, but usually, let me show this, that the network inspect. The inspect is a really important command. Let's see if I just need the first 2. This cool sounds could look a little bit scary, but it's not. This network I'm inspecting, and here, can you see, this is the most important part. There are 2 containers. These 2 containers, can you see the name, NodeDB, Node Tabnine, on the same network. So if I see this, and if there is any problem, The problem is just for the connection from my backend to the DB, but that's it. It's not about Docker or connection or other stuff. Okay?
That's super useful. What was the command?
Okay, in general,
Docker?
there are 4 objects in Docker. There are containers, ls, container, ls, the containers. Then there are the images. Then there are the network. Thank you for asking this because I saw I can show something. The networks and the volumes. Let's see if we have this. There you go. This is the volume defined inside the Docker Compose. I've done this because so we at least have a name. Otherwise, Postgres uses just a named anonymous volume, which is a bad practice. So just to give it a name, so we can name it instead of just checking IDs or volumes, which could sound super strange. Okay, and of course we can define custom names, like defining a name for the network and the volume. Okay, so now we could expand this. Let's do this because we said this in the thumbnail. But now what I'm doing now is just basic node stuff with some. Let's do them. Let's do this. Okay. We'll do this. I'm trying to escape, but I know that I need to do this. Okay, let's write this. Nice. This was very nice. Okay, try catch. And then we can find a user, const user equal in the article I've just wrote const u. Don't do that. Const user dot find by find by pk, which stands by primary key. And here they rewrite something which could sound strange. Thank you, Tabnine. Require params id. And this is what we will pass from the URL. Okay, I'll show you this. But before I forget to do this, let me uncomment these routes. Okay, perfect.
How did you remember that they were commented out?
I don't know. It was. I think it's just because I'm on a live stream and I'm more focused than usual. Okay, so return. And by the way, thank you for stepping by. Return rest status JSON user. Perfect. Okay.
Thank you, Tabnine.
I think could be. Wow. No, I think it is. I'm really saving time. I'm not saying this because you are here. Okay, now.
Are you all watching this?
Okay.
Are you watching this all? Check this out.
Perfect. Exports dot create one. I don't know if I pronounce it or not well. No. Okay.
You did?
Try catch. Now we have 3 more methods to go, and then we are done. Just. Okay. Oh, life! I love this really. Okay. Now, of course, now the types.
So now you need to define an object.
I think that now the TypeScript people, I think, are gonna yell at us because we are basically creating just an object. We are not checking any type. Of course, we are just a JavaScript file. But if you really want this, we can make a TypeScript version of this project. I've done a lot of videos with TypeScript, of course. Request dot this scheme. We need the body username, and then we have the email. I don't know how can remove. Okay, this is really showing. Here Tabnine is showing is flexing.
Now you just wrote P. You didn't even write password. Just P.
Yeah. This is really really great. Okay. I think that we need to do something else with that, not just define the model. So we can do another try catch inside of the catch. I don't know. There are different opinions about that, but okay. So I think in this case, and in this case, what we will do here. Basically, we want to make an insert inside the DB, so I should do insert into user, something like that. Instead, I just do user dot create based on the user model. And this is the power of Sequelize, for example. And then I can return rest.status.
Now it makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. Okay. I can even just say okay, but I want to return the users that I have created. It's not a must. Probably should just say, I don't know. Okay. So let's write the other one.
You mean like adding a console log there, saying like user was created successfully or something like that?
Yeah, let's do this. Log user created. Okay, user created successful. No.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm out of fantasy today.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically every time. Okay, so just two more endpoints to go. Yes, I'm watching what I need to do. Let's start.
Ali had a question that I find interesting. Sure. Again, he's asking why are you using JSON method instead of a send method?
JSON is just a short to send something in JSON format. I could do send. It should also. It's like send in JSON format. I could do send and then JSON object.
Oh, okay.
It's just a shortcut because I'm used to do this. So I've seen a lot of people doing just because if I send and here I put a JSON object, I don't know if this works. Probably yes, but this is for me to be sure. Okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, let's write the delete first, so maybe it's a little bit easier, and then the hardest for last. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so in this case also try catch. In the catch, so we return. This is really powerful, very powerful. And then const. Okay, const user equal await. Okay, no, this is not what I need because it's something.
Now we need
user
dot
destroy. Correct. Perfect. And here I put a where, which is like more or less SQL commands. Okay. ID, which is the required the rec params ID. Okay. And I need to return that this has been good. Okay. Return rest status. I don't know I can't remember exactly what Sequelize returns, but maybe okay. Let's see. Okay. Now the last and the hardest one is this one. Export update one, which is a bit long. I'll cheat a bit. Update one. Okay, async. Okay. Try catch. Come on, Francesco. We are almost done. And then okay, let's see. This is interesting.
Now you can just copy and paste from the create one.
Could, but let's see. Const user model, and then okay, in this case just copy paste. Just okay. Probably it's faster in this way. And password. Okay, username, email, and password. Yeah. Perfect. And then we are almost there. Come on, Francesco, we are almost done. You can remember Matrix when it's Trinity says, "Come on, Trinity."
Yeah.
That's you can't forget that. Const user. Come on. Await user dot update. No. Now user dot update. Of course, we need to know what we need to user model, and then the where ID is equal to rec params ID. Of course, here we should make some checks about the bodies, but of course, here we are not just creating some basic CRUD API. And then return rest status JSON user without parentheses.
That looks right.
No, this is not written correctly because this must be and praises inside parentheses. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we are done with the live stream. Thank you for everyone coming. No, I'm joking. Now I need to check, but this, let's see. So, okay, so first of all, a good thing is that let's pretend that now I've created some new stuff. So I know that the 003 works. Let's say that now I want to test the new version because I know that the get all one already works. So I change version here. Since when I do Docker compose up, it doesn't find this image, it builds that. Okay, that's the power of the Docker compose. Yeah, that you can have a working image like this 003. Of course, we are just getting started, but think about a complex application when you need to add a feature. Okay, we have this 003 version working. Now we need a new one. Okay, let's see. Everything looks fine. It should. Let's see. Too easy. Let's see. Clear. Docker PS. They are both up and running. We just need to make the last tests on Postman. If these are done, I will be really super happy. So let's just recap what we're doing. So if I do def.version.
I believe in you, Francesco. It will work.
Perfect. I need someone who believes in me. Okay, so if I try to find the users, it's empty. Now, the interesting part. Let's use something that I did before, but just because I'm lazy, I don't want to write here. So let's try to add Yotam email, I don't know, yotam at, gmail.com, something like that. You would like to have that one. I don't know if you have that.
I am the only Yotam in the world. That's definitely my Gmail account.
Wow, great. Okay, so this is, okay, so don't look at this. This was just a response before. Okay, let's try this. I'm trying to hit the endpoint with a post verb, the users. So what I'm trying to do is this. I'm trying to hit this route, okay? So if I have not misspelled, this should lead this to this one, and then controller create one. It should do something like that. Okay, let's see.
It should work.
Let's see. I already see some. Oh, this looks super promising because it returns me something a little bit strange, because I see not just what I said in the JSON object, but an ID 1, okay, these three parameters, okay, and also these, which are by default added by Sequelize. Usually I find them useful, but of course you can remove those if you don't need, or if you have your. But basically it saves these times when you create and when you update the same object. Okay. Sequelize is doing this.
So we can use now we can use it also to test the update.
Yeah. Just let me add the other two people. How you spell the Ali? Like this? I would like to add the other people. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah. Ali spells his name A-L-I.
Perfect.
Like you spell
okay.
Ali.
Your password is safer than the Yotam one. So this one. And then if there is other one, otherwise let's say, I don't know, Francesco. I would love to have Francesco.gmail, but I don't have that. Don't send mail to this one. I'll change this. I don't want him to get boomed. It's not me. Okay? Okay, now let's do something a little bit more interesting. If I do this get all, I don't need this, of course, just me, because I'm lazy. Okay, here I see all the users. Can you see this? Now, how can I access to just one user? Of course, this is not error prone, but let's put something that it's real. If I do /2, I should get just Ali. Okay.
Can we only approach the well, the objects or the users by their ID, or we can also
this is
get
a good
them...
question. This I've done, I showed you what I have done, of course. This depends on the application. I have done this command, and it is found by primary key. If I need something else, I need to hit maybe a different endpoint, or maybe add some logic here, and I can look, for example, inside with by where with some other parameters. This ID is the one that I pass inside the URL. Okay. Now, two more parts, just the put and delete, and we are done. Okay. The 2 hours really flying. Okay. Now, to update an existing user, and of course, you should check every parameters if you have the values. Today, I'll just do something like that. So it's a put command. What do we want to change? Let's change me. Let's call me, I don't know, YouTube. David? What? Do you want to change my name?
Okay. No, I wanted to change your name to David. You look like a David.
David 504?
Let's,
Which one? Okay.
Or King David.
King David. I don't know.
Or David
Bowie. Wow. Best compliments.
All,
I don't know why.
Okay.
Okay, it looks similar to a lot of people. Okay, so we are. Let's see if it works. Okay, so the output is a little bit strange because this is basically Sequelize telling us, okay, I've changed one rows on the DB. We could, of course, do another get after the put, but just to show you that this really changed, if I access this, can you see that the ID of Francesco, the username of Francesco now is YouTuber Francesco. Also, if I get them all, when I got all the people, we have this one. Now, only two things left, this one, a test, and we are promised that we are done. So who would we want to delete? Let's delete me. I don't want to delete anybody watching this live stream except me. So if I...
Definitely let's delete you.
Okay, Exploder. I was expecting that you would have been sacrificed to me, but okay. It seems not.
I'm not a self-sacrificing person. I'm sorry.
I appreciate your honesty. By the way, it's great doing live stream with you. So delete /3. Let's see. Okay, always a kind of strange output. I could do this way better. But let's check what we have now. We figured them all, and we see that I've just disappeared. Okay. Now, just last thing. Can you see that we have the containers here up and running? Now let's do something like this. Let's get inside the Postgres container without using Postman. I could use some other stuff, but let's see here. If I do this, I see the tables. Can you see this? If I do select from users, of course it still works.
Oh, then you get everything from here. Oh,
usually
so cool.
Here you understand. Because here now I'm not accessing that from the backend. You should not do this in production, of course, just to understand. But here I could... please don't make me write some SQL commands here, but I could make some inserts, select whatever you want directly from the DB. I could create, for example, an admin. So I have the same power of me installing Postgres on my machine, but if I will do, I can do this now. Let's clean it up. So I also show you a little bit some tricks. So to delete all the containers, this is one of my favorite tips on Twitter. I can do docker rm-f, and this is I can do something like that. So basically, I'm saying delete all the containers. This is a little bit advanced command, but okay. Okay. So I've deleted all the containers. But, of course, these are just two. I could have just said 5D, 5.2. Then let's delete also the images. Can I delete them? Docker run, the chef. Let's try Docker images.
Francesco, why are we deleting everything?
Because I'm done with this demo. No.
Leaving no trace
Exactly. No, but yeah, because I want you got me. But check this. Now I have no Postgres anymore on my PC. So instead, think about that you should have downloaded the Postgres from the official image. Okay, you can delete the things from here. But I'm done. I'm done with development. Okay.
Done with it. Going to be a lumberjack.
Yeah,
instead.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean for today, but that could also be an option. So
No. I think you're done with development for the rest of your life, man. From now on, you're going to be, I don't know, a canvas artist.
That would be great. Let me go back on the interview version. Perfect. Okay. So what do you think about this? Just let me say that I've honestly used the Tabnine a lot during this live stream. It helped me. Okay, I've talked a lot, but if you checked me typing during the endpoints on the controllers, it really helped me kind of a lot. Yeah.
I was watching you typing like mostly by tabbing down to tab9 completions, but regardless of tab9, I think that this whole interrupted by Yotam tutorial was extremely useful, and I really hope that everyone who was here was taking something and becoming better in the dev world. And just before we leave, in case we have viewers right now who joined in the later stage of the video, scroll up to the chat, or later on check the video when it's offline. You will find a promotion link for Tab9. You can all use it for yourself. You can use it for free, by the way, but if you want the Tab9 Pro, we have a promotion link for 50% discount. Feel free to take all the advantages of it.
Yeah, I definitely. And I'm not using just let me honest, Yotam, I'm not using Tabnine just because you are here. If you check me every other my live streams, I always use that, not just today. Okay, I'm not.
I know that about you. I know.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Francesco. I had the best time here.
I think the fastest 2 hours of my whole life today. But
the time just flew by. We just started 5 minutes ago, didn't we?
Yeah, it looked like 20 minutes ago. It took me maybe less time alone, but at least we have explained, we have asked 2 questions, but this is what live streams are for. So I'm super happy, to be honest. First of all, because I managed to do this. I got maybe more problem with the hello world than the whole REST API.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And also a special thanks to Ali Afshar, our best viewer of the live stream, who kept strong with us throughout the way. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you so much. You really saved me a couple of times, so thank you really so much, Ali. Yeah, perfect. I think that we are done. If we close in 30 seconds, less than 2 hours. Please check the links also in the description. I think we will also add the code in the description. Yotam, I have just a question for you. Will they last forever or just for some period?
We're gonna keep the promotion live for a while. So, even if you're watching this, today is June 3rd, 2021. If you're watching this within a few days or a few weeks from today, the link will probably still be alive.
Perfect. So we'll put also in the description, but it's also, I think, pinned somewhere. But perfect. So we are done. If you don't have any question, I can't read the chat, but if you don't have any question, thank you everyone for stepping by. This has been really super funny for me. I have done this video, what I've done today, also in an article on Node, if you want to check it out. But today I've done this from scratch. I never did this article live in this way. So thank you, Yotam, for giving me the chance to do this with you. So it was more fun.
I had the best time. I really hope we're gonna do this again with another one of your Hashnode
whenever you want,
because they're great, guys. Check out Francesco's Hashnode page. For me myself, it taught me so much. You should also take advantage of this brilliant mind.
Thank you so much, Yotam. You are really too kind. Yeah. Thank you.